All right, we have Kent Hovind on the line. He's talking to Nico right now. We're going to put him on the board and go to him as soon as they're ready. He is a political prisoner, and he'll only have 15 minutes on the line with us. We're going to go to Kent Hovind right now. Political prisoner, more than a decade in prison, indicted under structuring that the New York Times will put on screen. Last year admitted is a total criminal fraud. Hearings last month in Congress admitting it's incredible. You simply take money out of your own bank account as cash, and they claim that you're trying to steal money and launder it, and then they put a preacher who reached over 1 billion people in 30-plus languages, exposing the myth of modern Darwinism as a socialist religion. And the left loves the fact he's in prison. They have all these shows about it. And now they're targeting Christians by the tens of thousands with the IRS. If we don't get past the fear and stand up against them, they're going to come for everybody. Mr. Hovind, you're a hero for the First Amendment, and you're a hero for alternative history. And it's not illegal to do that, but evidently in your case it is. You're a political prisoner. We know we've only got about 12 minutes left with you, so you've got the floor.
Well, thank you so much, sir. It's an honor. I've loved your program for years. Yes, I certainly feel like a POW, prisoner of war. In case folks haven't followed it, there's a whole lot of tons of information on 2Peter3.com, just the number 2, the word Peter, and the number 3 for 2 Peter 3 in the Bible. To summarize quickly, I was a high school science and math teacher for 15 years. I moved to Pensacola in 1989, became an evangelist traveling the world speaking on the subject of creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. And I was targeted very early by the IRS, the early 90s. I tried everything to find out, what do you want? I answered their letters. They never answered mine. Finally, they came with a SWAT team and threw everybody off the property, held my wife hostage for 17 hours, made her open the church safe, took all the money out of there. It's just a long, sad story, and everything is up on 2 Peter 3, and we have tried everything. So finally in 2006, they came with another SWAT team, arrested my wife and I. No warning, no nothing. We have always answered their letters. They have never done anything illegal. And they arrested us for structuring. My wife had just gotten to sleep, and they took her down to the courthouse in her nightgown, wouldn't let her put a robe on, wouldn't let her get dressed, wouldn't let her go to the bathroom. She's 5 feet tall, little grandma, just amazing, piano teacher. So the charge was structuring, which I'd never heard of. They said, well, yeah, you took your own money out of the bank. Actually, it was ministry money out of the ministry bank account to pay ministry bills back in 2002, 2003, and 2004. Okay, no, we stopped in 2003. Okay, so that's illegal? Well, yeah, you did it in amounts less than $10,000. Oh, so we took it to trial. I thought you're supposed to when you're innocent. There's no crime here at all. After the government putting on their dog and pony show, my attorney said, don't even give a defense. Everybody can see you did not commit a crime. The law says you have to have 2 or more transactions in one day. Each transaction is under $10,000, but those 2 total over $10,000. Okay, well, ours was 1 transaction every 12 days. Not a crime at all. But then they said, nope, that's structuring. Over those years, you withdrew $430,000 of ministry money to pay ministry bills. Okay. And so we did not even give a defense. At the end of trial, the judge changed the jury instructions and said, if you find they took out less than $10,000, you must find them guilty.
So he changed the law under judicial tyranny right there on the spot.
Well, yes, a woman judge, Judge Casey Rogers. I think that was wrong to change the law. And so the jury, of course, found us guilty. Well, yeah, they took out less than $10,000. Go to the bank, take out $10. That's less than $10,000. So guilty. Then the judge said, now all that money that was withdrawn, even though you stopped doing this 3 years ago, all that money that was withdrawn over those years, you now owe it to the government. They're going to seize that money. Well, I don't own anything. I live in a church parsonage. I drive a church van. I don't own anything. So they put in a motion saying, we want to seize the church ministry property. Of course, the church trustee said, objection. Why don't you go seize Walmart? They got more money. Why don't you go seize something else? No. They want to seize the church ministry property to pay these structured funds when there's no crime at all involved ever.
And sir, in the time we have with you, we know you're totally innocent. The New York Times, they had hearings last month that the law says 10,000. They're going after 86-year-old women with no criminal record who run tiny diners that seat 10 people who would make cash deposits every day of less than 1,000 and then would write checks on that. They call depositing it structuring and money laundering. So they do whatever they want outside of law. It's all admitted. You should be released. They've overturned other cases like yours. Here's the big question. Why did they target you? Obviously to shut you down. What do you think of the massive persecution of the church now? It's meant to intimidate the church into submitting, going under government faith-based initiative, in my view. Give us your take on that. And then B, how do we free Kent Hovind?
Well, yes, there are plenty of websites, freekenthovind.com. It's H-O-V-I-N-D, Norwegian name, Hovind. Congress needs to repeal that stupid structuring law. They need to get a lot of pressure to say, look, would you, IRS apologize for misusing it. Well, that's step one, but that's nowhere close to enough. Get Congress to repeal the stupid law and, very important, make it retroactive. And say, okay, anybody ever arrested under this stupid law is hereby released, and all money taken from them is hereby returned, and they get $1 million for every year false incarceration.
This call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
I've been locked up over 100 months away from my family. I've been moved 23 times all over the country, diesel therapy, trying to shut me up. I am an outspoken Christian. I believe the Bible is literally true and scientifically accurate. And with my science background, I've done 100 debates against atheists, and I slaughter them sweetly in Christian love. So they just hate me for just teaching the truth. And there are thousands of anti-Hovind websites.
They are totalitarian scum. This just proves it. They're the opposite of liberals. And your case, you're such a gentleman. You're so sweet. You reached 1 billion people. You were a superstar who was very humble. You just come across as a total Boy Scout. And they are, to see an innocent man persecuted like this makes me sick. And these churches have been intimidated by this type of stuff to submit to the government now and even teach what the government says. It is disgusting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
To make it even worse, a year ago, I filed a perfectly legitimate lawsuit against the Bureau of Prisons for keeping my legal box and hindering me from filing my motions. And I filed a perfectly lawful lis pendens, a litigation pending, which says, hey, because they wanted to sell the church property. They did. They already did.
And now they're coming after you for pro se activity. Tell folks about that.
Yeah, they wanted to. I just finished trial last Friday. They came after me again, a 2-week trial, saying, you face another 100 years in prison for filing this lis pendens and for contempt of court, which is insane. The jury was a hung jury on every count except for one. They did find me guilty of contempt of court of a 2007 order. And my attorney is putting in a motion saying, look, there was no law on that. That one may
Will you ever get out of prison?
Does.
It's incredible. How long have you been in prison? How long will they keep you? They just keep trying to pile it up. What happened in the new court case?
Well, the new court case, it was a hung jury on everything except one count when I was found guilty of, and that one carries anywhere from nothing to, there's no limit, 100 years, I suppose. Contempt of court, which what on earth is that? So we're working now to get that jury verdict overturned. Who knows? I was supposed to go home last month from this last charge, but I've been sitting in a county jail with 11 guys sleeping on the floor, and for 10 months now. I've been in county jail.
I had Michael Allison on a few years ago. He was facing life in prison for filming the police and taping the police on his own property, and the state actually tried to get him life in prison for that. I mean, this is totalitarianism, is it not?
It is indeed, and Edmund Burke said all that's needed for evil men to triumph is for good men to do nothing, and this is America, for heaven's sake. We've got freedom. We need to take advantage of the freedoms and use it. Right now, Congress can change all this. Congress created this club that they're clubbing everybody with. Take it away. Congress should pass a law that says no one involved in law enforcement at any level, judges, lawyers, etc., should be allowed to own stock in the prison system.
That's
they
right.
Profit. It's double dipping. The longer they lock you away, the more money they make. I wrote a book about this under a different name called The Kennel. It's up on Lulu.com and on 2Peter3.com. It exposes the evil. All I do, like Jeremiah the prophet, is just simply expose the truth. Here's what's happening, and boy, they hate the light. Evil men hate the light.
Well, you're a very righteous man. I mean, people can pick up on that. You're just a straightforward Jimmy Stewart, type guy. That's how you come off. They cannot stand you because you are a leader, Kent, and you're a hero. It hurts my heart though to think about how they've tortured you and dieseled you. Tell folks what they've done to you.
Well, like I said, I've been moved 23 times. I was moved to Colorado. I live in Pensacola, Florida. You're supposed to stay within 500 miles of your home. Well, I was moved out to Colorado against my will, and then moved up to New Hampshire against my will. I was moved out to Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery. I was only there 4 days, and they took me out, never told me why, put me in county jail. It's been, diesel therapy. But God's been good. I've written 37 books. I've led over 700 men to Christ. Half the Bible is written from prison or by people who've been in captivity or prison. So God uses it. It's coming to everybody. If you stand true for the Lord, it's coming. So just get ready for it. It's been a blessing in 1,000 ways. It's been hard. I have an 8-year-old grandson that I've never held in freedom. Never. He was born 2 months after I came to prison. I should have gone home last month. I could go home today if they overturned this one count. But
this call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, I love the Lord. I love my country. I'm trying to help. And I think all the stuff we have posted on 2 Peter 3 would help. The thing they fear the most is light. And all Gideon had in the book of Judges was 2 weapons, light and noise. Shine the light, make a lot of noise, and the enemy started fighting each other. That's what I'm praying here. The IRS agents in my case need to be completely investigated, start to finish. The judges need to be completely investigated. If they did nothing wrong, okay. But Congress impeaches judges if they don't rule according to good behavior. They rarely do that. But the Constitution says they're appointed for life during good behavior. Okay, well, check the case out.
Well, Ken, I get tears in my eyes, not so much for you, but for all the other innocents they're persecuting, for the unborn, for the fact of how they don't have death lists for our veterans of do not treat and nobody gets in trouble. The evil is intensifying. Is our country beginning to come under judgment?
I fear it is, brother. If any country ever deserved the judgment of God, it's America. We had a wonderful founding, amazing blessings from God, and we have spit in his face, and we've done so many things against his law that I fear. Well, the Bible says, for the transgression of the land, many are the princes thereof. Because we're wicked, we've got this huge bureaucracy. So God's giving us what we deserve, and it's sad. So I appreciate what you guys do to try to turn it around. I'm in the same boat. I think righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. All I've ever tried to do for 46 years is win souls and tell people live for God.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
You have 60 seconds, Kent, there from your political prison. You've got 60 seconds. Final words.
Okay. What people can do is deluge Congress. Now, this judge had said, please write to me and let me know what you think about Kent Hovind should this, on this one count he was found guilty of. I don't know that it'll make any difference, but Judge Casey Rogers, number 1, North Palafox, Palafox in Pensacola, 32501. And just say, Judge Rogers, please let Kent go home. It's been 100 months. Just go home. We still think we're going to win the case. We can always go on appeal, but Congress needs to stop some of these stupid laws. They need to simply abolish the IRS. What do we need them for? Just shut them down. We didn't have them until 1933. Just stop. Okay? But if not, at least investigate them. Look what they did in my case. Classic example of everything going wrong with our justice system.
And there you go. He's now back sleeping on the floor in a giant mass of stinking inmates. And I don't say they're stinking people. You just know it stinks in there. And a guy with no criminal record, school teacher, did nothing wrong. And the so-called left, it's why I detest them. They are the opposite of a liberal, the opposite of Thomas Jefferson, the opposite of freedom. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That's how the First Amendment begins. And you've got a preacher who was successful, who they feared, who was getting really big, and he wasn't even making a lot of money. He took $400,000 out for the entire ministry over 2 years. Folks, he had films that were selling millions of copies. He was airing them for free all over the world. He had different groups giving them out free. He wasn't charging, in many cases, books for children. It's the First Amendment, and the left didn't like it as they put him in prison. They'll put everybody in prison.